Hello and welcome back to the another episode of Daily Quiz for IAS Prelims 2025. It is 30th September today, and in this video we are going to derive some prelims based questions from these articles which are on the slide, which are actually taken from the newspapers. Before we start discussing the questions, I would like to introduce this initiative to you guys so that you will get more idea and more involved with this video. Every day in this video we discuss three types of questions. The first set of questions is from the current affairs. We take up the most important articles from the newspapers. We try to break them down into the simplest language possible and derive prelims based questions from those articles so that it will give you the idea how the questions could come from the news articles, how they can ask you prelims based questions from the news articles. And the another set of questions which we discuss here is from the static topic. Every day we had started to discuss a static topic here, and we had started with the Indian polity. And right now we are discussing the citizenship. In it we are discussing the acquisition of citizenship, and today we are going to discuss it by incorporation of the territory. So we are going to discuss it and derive a prelims based question on that. After discussing this, we will derive some previous year questions. We will discuss some previous year questions in this video. We will try to find out ways and methods by which we can solve those questions, and also how to implement that knowledge in the upcoming exam. So this is all about this initiative. Now I would like to request you guys, please do note down these questions somewhere, because it would be very much important for you. If you have these questions, you don't know how much important it is for you. When your exams would be near and you would want to revise your current affairs, and I being myself an aspirant, I know how much difficult it is to revise the current affairs. So if you have these questions with you, you would just need to revise these questions. These questions would definitely connect you with the current affairs, and you will get the idea about the current affairs. And also, it will, by solving these questions, it will boost your confidence before entering the exam hall. So my sincere request to you guys is, please do note down these questions somewhere, or at least take the screenshot of these questions. Keep these questions with you so that it may help you. And also I would like to request you guys, please do subscribe the channel and share this video with your friends so that they may also get benefited from this initiative. Now, without any delay, let's have a look at the topic which we have to discuss today, from where we are going to derive the questions. The first article, it is about the common practice standards must have India outlook. Now, if we look at this topic in the words as it is said here, you won't get any specific idea what it is if you have not read the newspaper. Now let me give you the brief idea about it. Let me introduce you with this topic, and then we will solve the question with respect to these topics. You would have heard about the agroforestry. In agroforestry, we do agriculture with the forestry. It is a very simple term in which we do agriculture with the forestry, and we also add the livestock in it. So it is a collaboration between agriculture, forestry, and the livestock. So in this agroforestry we have three types of, if we will define it, if we will derive it, we can derive it in three types majorly. One is agri-silviculture, which is tree plus where we grow trees and crops. Then the second type of it is silvopastoral, in which trees and pastures are there, livestock is there. And third is agro-silvopastoral, where all trees plus crop and pastures are there. So these are three types of agroforestry. Now you may ask why we are discussing this. One thing about forestry, we had understood that it is a huge thing for curbing the carbon dioxide. It is a best thing for dumping carbon dioxide, and we would have heard about the concept of carbon crediting. So here the concept about why we had brought carbon crediting here, because in agroforestry, what it helps in dumping the carbon dioxide. But to get the benefits of this dumping, there is a problem, there is an issue with India. What is that issue? We have to understand this by this definition, which is climate based carbon credit. What does it say? In order to determine that certain process is doing good, that practice should not be the common practice. So here comes the concept of common practice. For example, if we look at the Indian perspective. In India, when we do agriculture, for example, we grow wheat, we grow plants, we grow wheat crop there, and we grow some plants besides that. So according to this definition, it comes in the common practice, the agroforestry which we do. It comes in the common practices which are defined by the European or American, which is much European or American centric. So this common practices, what it does, this definition of common practice with respect to India, it does not give the agriculturalists, it does not give the farmers the credit for dumping the carbon dioxide when they go for the agri-forestry, when they go for agroforestry. So here the author tries to say that the concept of common practice standard which we are following right now for the carbon credit, it should not be that much Europe centric, or it is very much American centric. It should be Indian centric. India's approach should be well studied under it, so that the farmers, they will get the extra benefit from their forestry, what they are doing with the agroforestry. So this is the basic concept about the article in here. I hope you had got the basic crux of the article. In the next slide, we will derive a prelims based question on that, and that will give you more idea about it. Then the another article is about what has Make in India achieved. You would have heard about Make in India. This initiative is under Make in India. We are trying to give the initiatives for the domestic manufacturing. We are giving different initiatives to different industries, so that this Make in India program will grow. Domestic industries will grow, domestic manufacturing will grow. We had heard much about it. Now let's get a basic idea about what this Make in India is, what was its main purpose, and what we had achieved till now. If we look at when it was brought in on 25th September 2014. India introduced Make in India. What was its main aim? Its main aim was to go for the 10% increase in GDP from manufacturing sectors. In manufacturing sectors, the GDP should increase to 10%, and also another main aim of it was to create 100 million additional industrial jobs. So these were two main aims of this Make in India. But if we will right now look what it has achieved since 2014 till 2024, it has been 10 years since Make in India came in. What it has achieved, one thing we can say that the ease of doing business has increased in India. This thing we can appreciate, but has it achieved good in the manufacturing? No. If we look at the real gross value addition in manufacturing, the growth rate of manufacturing sectors has in fact reduced from 8.1% to 5.5%. And we should also know that in 2014 we used to follow 2004 census, and right now we are following 2011 census. And after consulting everything in it, what does the author here wants to carry? Here wants to say that this Make in India, in a way, we had not achieved what we had promised to achieve in this. The growth in manufacturing is very low. In fact, we are decreasing. I got an important call. So where we were, that the main aim of this Make in India was to increase the manufacturing, to increase it to the highest levels. But what we had done in these 10 years, the manufacturing has decreased to the at least to 3%, something very much near to that. And also, only 1% increase in the past 3 decades as GDP of the manufacturing. So here what the article tries to say, that what this Make in India has promised, we will achieve this much, while we will invite the foreign industries to invest in our domestic market. We will go for the we will boost our manufacturing. But if we will look at the real data, it has not achieved it yet. But this is the perspective of the author here. There are much more in this. If we look at it, there had been COVID here, and other things also should have been included in this article. But here the main aim of author was to criticize this policy. Now, what should we get from this article? We will solve that question with respect to the prelims. We will get the information about it, and get our prelims prepared well. After that, we know about there was a future summit in UN Future Summit in USA, and global leaders talked in that. In a way, it was very much, it should have been very much progressive in nature, but it has still remained, you know, and it has still, it did not achieve what the people had thought it will achieve. Many initiatives were brought in this. For example, it did talk about the global digital impact initiatives, declaration on future generations, as the UN is already doing it from years. It has done, UN has not. It is not able to achieve what it has promised from the year. So that is not the issue here. But the issue here is of the inequality in the world. UN is mainly, it is controlled by five countries, and majorly it is controlled by the USA-led alliances. So here comes the concept of, should these, dominant countries, should they, give should they frame the order of the world and we should follow them? Should the global south follow the orders of these dominant countries, or there should be the global voice? There should be the voice for every country, which should be discussed, and how this inequality will reduce in the world. So this was a little discussion about it. So about this topic also we will get a premise based question and get more idea about it. After that, there was another topic. It is about the Russians' new nuclear policy. It is, Russian foreign minister, he gave a very astonishing statement that if any country, if there is any conventional attack on Russia by any country which is supported by the nuclear power, actually in this statement they were, referring to USA. This would consider, Russia would consider a joint attack on them. For example, if any country right now, Ukraine is attacking on Russia. So what the Russian, let's analyze the statement of Russian foreign minister. What does he tries to imply here? That right now USA is Ukraine, we have a war on Ukraine, and if they attack on us and they are supported by some nuclear power, for example USA, then this would act, Russia would consider it as a joint attack. What is this joint attack? Let's try to understand that. It is an attack in a conventional way as well as in a nuclear way. So in nutshell, what Russia is trying to say, that don't attack us, we will go for them for nukes. So what the Russia is trying to imply here. So this was a simple article here, and let's try to solve a premise based question on the next slide with respect to it. Then the another article, a brief news about that our Indian Navy chief, he holds talks on strategic ties with officials in Greece. We need to know about Greece more, and we'll solve a premise based question on that and get more idea about the Greece. Usually UPSC has this habit, they will ask you questions from the countries which were in the news, or from the countries with India is in any relationship. So let's get more idea about Greece in the prelims question session. And after that, as we had seen yesterday, we discussed about the Lebanon's attack. We discussed about how its chief was killed, the organization which is in Lebanon, how its chief was killed there, and how it will impact the world. We discussed it in the yesterday's class. Chief was killed yesterday. So right today, China has given a statement that it stands for the Lebanese sovereignty. So here China is trying to infer that they are ready for the mediation. They are ready to mediate with any country. It is showing its soft power to the world. And what here India should try to learn from how China is approaching these countries, and what India's approach should be towards these countries, how India should show its global presence in the world by mitigating between the countries, by mediating between the countries. So this is in a nutshell about this article. We had discussed this article in detail in the last class too. After we will solve the questions with respect to these articles, we will go to the static part and derive some static questions there too. For example, here today we are going to discuss the citizenship, and finally we will derive some previous year questions too. So with this, I hope you had got the basic idea about what was in the news. Now let's try to solve the questions with respect to these articles. Here, the first question says, which of the following statements correctly define the terms related to integrated land use system? So we discussed about the agroforestry. Now there are different types in it. Now let's try to understand how whether they are well defined or there is something wrong with these statements. The first statement is about agri-silviculture. We discussed it about. Now let's see what does it say. It is a system that combines agriculture and forestry, integrating crops with trees, cultivation for mutual benefits. 100% correct. We discussed it. Then the second is silvopastoral, a practice that incorporates trees and shrubs into pastures for livestock grazing, enhancing biodiversity and providing shade. 100% correct. Third statement, agro-silvopastoral. It says a holistic system that integrates agriculture, forestry, and livestock production to optimize land use and resource efficiency. 100% correct. So with respect to this question, all the three statements are correct, and from the code given below, the correct code would be option C. With this, I hope you had got the basic idea about this topic, and by solving this question, you had got more idea, more knowledge about it. So please take the note of this question. This may be helpful for your prelims preparation. Now with this, let's move to the another here. It is about Make in India. Let's see what the question says. Which of the following statements about Make in India initiative are correct? Statement 1, the initiative was launched in 2014, 25th September to promote manufacturing in India and increase its contribution to GDP. 100% correct. Statement 2, it aims to encourage multinational and domestic companies to manufacture their products in India. 100% correct, nothing wrong with this statement. Statement 3, the initiative exclusively focuses on the heavy manufacturing sectors and does not include services or technology. This is incorrect. So with respect to this question, the correct statements are statement 1 and statement 2, and from the code given below, the correct code would be option A. With this, I hope you had got the basic idea about Make in India, and also the discussion which we did according to the author, what we had achieved till 2024 under Make in India program, as what we had promised in it. More than 100 million jobs. Had we achieved that in the manufacturing? No. And also the GDP should have been increased to more than 10%. Had we achieved that yet? Not. But what has been the achievements in it? The GDP in the manufacturing has increased to only 1%. The gross value addition has in fact decreased, and also the jobs, people are shifting back towards the agriculture in India. So according to the author, the Make in India has not been that successful as it is said, as it was promised. So with this, let's move to the another question. It is about G7 countries. It says, which of the following statements regarding the G7 countries are correct? So here you would ask me, sir, why we had brought a question with respect to G7, because we saw that in UN Future Summit that how different initiatives were brought in, and also we saw that there was a discussion about how these powerful countries are very much controlling the UN, how UN is a puppet of USA. So these are the G7 countries who control the world order right now. So with respect to this, we should know what these G7 countries are. Here the first statement says the G7 is an intergovernmental organization consisting of 7 of the world's largest advanced economies. 100% correct. The member countries of the G7 include the United States, Canada, Germany, France, Italy, Japan, and the United Kingdom. 100% correct. The third statement, the G7 countries are responsible for creating binding international laws for member nations. If we lived in an honest world, it would have been correct, but right now the world is not honest, so this statement is incorrect in a typical way, because they don't control the world order, but in a different way. The allegations on them, they control the UN, they control everything. So we can say in some way G7 is controlling the world order, but in technical and textual way it is incorrect. Being honest, it is correct. Being politically correct, then it is incorrect. So this statement is incorrect. To be honest, with respect to your prelims preparation, in a nutshell, this statement is incorrect. So with respect to this question, the correct statements are statement 1 and 2 only, and from the code given below, the correct code is option A. With this, let's move to the another question. It is about which of the following countries share a land border with Ukraine. We saw that Russia gave a warning to the world that if any attack on Russia, and they are supported by any nuclear country, then they would take it as a joint venture attack, which means that both conventional and nuclear powers are used for the attack. So Russia will consider that attack like that, and they will retaliate according to that. So in a nutshell, the Russia gave a nuclear threat to the world. And here we need to know about, UPSC does ask you questions with respect to the borders. Now let's try to understand what are the borders of Ukraine. Poland, 100% correct. Belarus, correct. Moldova, correct. Romania, correct. Slovakia, correct. So with respect to this question, all the statements are correct, and from the code window, the correct code would be option 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, which is option C. With this, let's move to the another. Here, same question with respect to the land borders with the Greece, as we saw that Indian Navy chief had talks with the Greece officials. Now let's get what are the land borders the Greece shares with Albania, correct. North Macedonia, correct. Bulgaria, correct. Turkey, correct. 100% correct. All the statements are correct. And with respect to this question, the correct statement is option B. With this, let's move to the another part of today's discussion, which is with respect to the static topic, I guess, or maybe I had left any question with respect to the current affairs. Let us see in the next slide. Yeah, let's move to the another part of our discussion, which is the acquisition of citizenship by incorporation of territory. So we are from last few classes we are discussing the acquisition of citizenship. We saw that how a person can acquire a citizenship by birth, by descent, by registration, by nationalization, how there are different ways and methods put in in this, how a person can acquire a citizenship of India by different ways and methods. And also here comes the another part with respect to this acquisition of citizenship by incorporation of a territory. It says if India acquires any foreign territory, if any foreign territory becomes a part of India, the government of India specifies the persons who among the people of the territory shall be the citizen of India. So what does it say that the government of India, what does it do? The government of India specifies the persons who among the people of the territory shall be the citizens of India. It is up to India. For example, tomorrow they will acquire any territory from Pakistan or any other state. Then in that territory, it is up to the government of India whether to include everybody as their citizen, or they will specify Falani would be the citizen and Falani won't be. They would specify it on the basis of security, on other issues also. So this thing is very much critical, and we should know about it. Also, such persons become the citizen of India from the, once, of the territory shall be the, also such persons become the citizen of India from the notified date, and that date would be given. For example, when Pondicherry became a part of India, the government of India issued the Citizenship Pondicherry Order 1962 under the Citizenship Act of 1955. So after when the government gives a date, after that date, they had become the citizens of India, and it is up to the government of India, they would specify whether person would be citizen or not. Now let's come to the question here. Let us try to understand what the question says. The question here says, which of the following statements regarding the acquisition of citizenship by incorporation of territory in India are correct? Statement 1, under the Citizenship Act of 1955, individuals from territories incorporated into India automatically gain Indian citizenship. 100% correct. Statement 2, the President of India has the authority to grant citizenship to individuals from newly incorporated territories through a notification. It is not the President, it is the joint collaboration of the President and the government. So this is partially correct, partially incorrect. We can mark it incorrect here. Third statement, the President the Citizenship Act provides a specific provision for the acquisition of citizenship for residents of the territories that are annexed to India. 100% correct. So with respect to this statement, the correct statements are statement 1 and statement 2 only. The second statement 1 and statement 3 is correct. Statement 2 is incorrect. So with respect to this question, the correct statements are statement 1 and statement 2. So with this, you would have been you might be little bit confused what we discussed, that the government specifies who to be the citizenship, and here in the question we saw that incorporated into India automatically gains Indian citizenship. Usually if the government won't specify that, then everybody would become this citizen automatically. This specification is for those if there are some certain amount of people whom they don't want to add as the citizens. So I hope you had got the you had cleared this doubt. I think this would have come to your mind. Now with this, let's go to the last part of our discussion where we will solve prelims based questions, last year prelims based questions. Here the first question is, the native state of Tripura became involved in the freedom movement early in the 20th century because first statement, the king of Tripura was always anti-British, totally incorrect. Statement 2, the Bengal revolution took shelter in Tripura, correct, incorrect. This is not the reason why there was early freedom struggle in Tripura. Third statement, the tribes of state were fiercely feeding freedom loving, not that much. Statement D, there were already some groups fighting against the kingship and its protector, the British. 100% correct. This is the correct statement, correct answer for this question. Now with this, let's move to the another question here. It says, after returning from the South Africa, Gandhiji launched his first successful satyagraha in, if you would have followed me, we had solved same question in the earlier class too. Now you can understand that sometimes what UPSC does, it will only change the wordings of this question. If we look at that question, what did they ask when we discussed that question? I will give you that question too. They said, one second. Yeah, the question was like that. The first venture of Gandhi in all India politics was. We discussed that question, and here the question would be almost same. Now in a different way. The wordings is different. Here the question says, after returning from South Africa, Gandhiji launched his first successful satyagraha in which where it was in Champaran. So the correct statement to this is option C. Now you would have got the basic idea how UPSC sometimes just changes the wordings of the question and they will ask the same question. That is why reading the last year questions becomes very much important for you. This, if you know every question what has been asked till now from last 10 to 12 years, there are more chances that any question which are related to that you would solve that, and there are chances that at least 10 to 12 questions that would come in the exam, you will get the basic idea about that if you ever had solved the previous year questions. That's why we are solving these questions here. By this, I complete today's discussion. I hope you would subscribe the channel, you would share it with your friends, and thank you for staying with me. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.